It's Needlepoint Tutorial Tuesday. Today's is going to be a little bit different because today I want to explain the difference between artistically painted needlepoint canvases and stitch painted needlepoint canvases and how you can tell the difference and what is the process that goes into making each one. This is going to be a little bit more of like a shopper education and like stitcher education video, like how can you tell the difference? So let's get into it. So a painterly or more artistic style of needlepoint painting is when an artist who paints on other mediums decides, I'm going to do this on needlepoint canvas and just let the stitcher stitch over it. Usually this painter is really used to having the colors blend together and using shading techniques that you would on a traditional canvas and not necessarily prioritizing what threads a stitcher is going to choose. Paint is just going on the canvas. It looks good. I mean, it's going to have good coverage. It's going to look decent. Like the naked eye or like a stitcher who maybe doesn't know exactly what to look for in a stitch painted canvas will look at it and definitely think that it's beautiful because it itself is a beautiful painting. But is it a beautiful needlepoint canvas? That's the question. So here is where I'm really going to show this egregious example. I am filling in shading here, but I am like using the paint to blend with the other color of paint rather than choosing different colored paints in a gradient. So the paints themselves are blending together and creating multiple shades. That looks really confusing to the stitcher, and it's going to be really tough for a stitcher to choose what threads need to go where, because it's like, well, what color is that anyway? Now, it looks perfectly round. It looks perfectly spherical. You can see the shading. I've got my little pop of highlight here. I'm just flicking it on really, really quickly with my paintbrush, and then I'm gonna really, really quickly paint on the base here, and look, it's beautiful. It looks really nice. I feel like it looks really nice. Like as a painting, it looks great. But the stitcher has to make the choice. Like, do they love the art enough to figure it out and stitch through the artistic painting? Or is this just gonna go into destashing? Now, stitch painting, I think we're all a little bit more familiar with. I think stitch painting takes 3 to 4 times the actual physical amount of time that artistically or painterly styles of canvas painting takes. Like, I am painting each and every intersection extremely carefully. My circle is symmetrical. I charted it out beforehand. Now, I did chart it out freehand, but that's another story. And yeah, I'm popping in my little highlights here, but I'm taking my time. It's very slow. I'm making sure that the paint looks good and covers it really well. You saw how quickly I painted the base on the last one. Here, I'm actually counting out each and every canvas intersection. Where does the paint need to go? I have it all planned out and counted out, and it's a very meticulous process. Now, the painters at the painting service don't use this exact same process. They use kind of a tracing process, but they are still extremely precise with how they apply paint to canvas so that it is a perfect stitch painted canvas. Okay, we're gonna look at the painterly canvas really closely. You saw how quickly I painted that. I was really slapping the paint on there, and you can see where the colors sort of blend together and blur a little bit. That looks good on a painting by itself, but not so much for stitching. Here is the stitch painted example. I was really, really careful with where I applied the paint so that each canvas intersection is very obvious. And you can tell like there's no confusion as far as what color needs to go where. And before you think to yourself, Stephanie, why are you putting any other designers on blast for their painting style? Well, this was my painting style right when I first got started. I didn't quite have the stitch painting down pat yet, so you can see I made some choices with my painting. This is an egregious example, one of my very first designs. This design is since discontinued. And the poor green man, when he first came on the scene, he was a little pitiful, not very well stitch painted. He was definitely more artistically painted. We can see like the blending. Like I was trying really hard, but the green man, he still looks good, but this is not a painter who is thinking with the stitcher in mind yet. So that's the evolution of Spellbound Stitchery too. Same design, two styles, the artistic or painterly canvas and the stitch painted canvas. I hope now you'll be able to spot the difference between the two and be a little bit more informed and educated when you are shopping for needlepoint canvases. It's all personal preference, and if you decide that you like this style, then go for it, buy this style. But if you decide that you like the stitch painted canvas, now you will know what to look for and what to avoid when you are shopping for needlepoint. Let me know what you think in the comments.